And what's up, nerds? I started that a little bit too early, but you know what? I don't care. My name is Brendan. I'm the nerd of many faces, and to my right, as always, we have Shane at FDScosplay, and we are the Knights of Nerd. Now, today's episode, we're going to be talking about stuff that's actually pretty current in terms of the nerd community and everything else. We're going to be talking about both the premiere of Falcon and Winter Soldier and the premiere of the Snyder Cut on HBO Max. Now, there's been a lot of let's start off with the Justice League cut first, because when the Justice League first came out, I mean, it has, I think, a 40% or somewhere thereabouts rating on Rotten Tomatoes, about 76% in regards to audience saying go see it. But this one's doing surprisingly well. It's at a 74% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's at a 96% audience recommendation. So
it's freaking crazy.
And be forewarned, there are going to be spoilers. We're going to be talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, turn back now. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get to talking about these, about Justice League. I will also forewarn people that it is a 4-hour investment. Of course, granted, it being on a streaming service makes it a whole lot easier to pause and go to the bathroom, then come back and not have it be in a theater setting, mind you. Which I think
like the setup that they did, though.
Yes. Like, the parts made it feel like you were watching different chapters of the storytell out, rather than be like this whole entire continuous thing. Because I think that helped the pacing a lot, because I felt the pacing at the beginning was kind of slow, but granted, I knew how the story was going to end. But they had a different execution. And right from the get-go, they don't have the little boys on the cell phone interviewing Superman with his facial hair removed. Bad CGI is just bad CGI. And also so it doesn't really take you out of the movie like right to begin with. And how it starts, it's not just this random circumstance in which the mother boxes become active. It's that final death scream of Superman that activates the one that's on the island of Themyscira.
Yep. Yeah, I love how they did that with kind of really starting the beginning of the movie at the very end of Batman versus Superman, which I thought was really, really perfect, just because, I mean, Batman versus Superman theatrical cut, not so much of a fan, but the 3-hour and 15 minute extended cut that they released, the extended cut, so much better. And to take up from where that left off to go into Justice League really gave that storyline, that movie, a coherent timeline, instead of where Whedon's kind of just picked up with really bad CGI and Superman talking to 3 kids after, what was it, like saving somebody from a fire or whatever. There was fire department around there. I think there were flames, and the whole entire the rehashing really of what the S means on his chest. It's like, oh, it's a symbol of hope. And I mean, it's okay, that's already been established. You don't need to beat this metaphorical dead horse. Yeah.
And go through and say, it's like, well, this is a symbol of the House of L. It stands for hope. Yada yada yada. It's like, okay, Russell Crowe gave us that Man of Steel.
But yeah, the one thing though that I did love about the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, was they brought a lot of that back.
Oh yeah, they brought a lot of that back, and they tied it in very well.
yeah, it was just like just so well done, man. I mean, I went into it really hoping for that cohesive storyline to see what actually, took place after Batman versus Superman. Because I mean, you watch Batman versus Superman, you watch Whedon's Justice League, and it almost doesn't make sense in timeline, and
it kind of
story and
seems
stuff
like
like
two
that.
different movies in two different universes. Yeah.
Right, exactly. To where this one, Snyder really, I mean, it just really kind of brought everything together, and not only tied in Batman versus Superman, but really tied in, Man of Steel, and just that whole story arc that he started then and until now. So it almost feels like a true continuation of that storyline, which is fantastic, and everybody is just loving it, man. I mean, dude, we sat there, I mean, 4 hours and 2 minutes, and just, I mean, it to me, it really didn't feel like it. Yeah, I took a couple breaks like midway through, which, the whole breaking it up into, okay, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, and then the epilogue.
Is it really 6? I thought it was only 5 chapters in an epilogue. That's not.
No,
that's...
I think it was 6. I think it was 6. It was 6.
That's not really that important. It's
no, but having that breakup really gives you enough, for it being such a long movie. It almost kind of reminded me of like the old school movies from like the 60s, like, Ben-Hur and Lawrence of Arabia, where you're watching these epic films that are like 4 to 5 hours long, and in the middle of the movie you kind of get that break where it just kind of goes to a black screen, so you kind of get up and go use the restroom, get a snack or whatever.
Well, it's
that with the chapter, so it was kind of nice.
Well, with it's like I mean, this is totally off topic, but I know that with Ben-Hur and older movies like that, it was because they had to change film reels because they were just so massive that it's like, okay, we got to change this film reel, we have to put a new one on and all this other stuff. And I mean, I used to be a cinema projectionist, so I used to go through and do the thread ups of the machines and be aware of like, okay, this is a brain wrap, I know what happens, I know what I need to do to fix it and everything else. So I mean, yeah, that kind of experience does indeed help break it up a little bit, so that way it also doesn't make you feel like, as an audience goer or as an audience member, something that is along the lines of, like, oh my god, when is this gonna end?
It definitely didn't feel like that either. There were some slow points in it, like the beginning was kind of slow, but you understood what was going on with the story. He was telling a cohesive story.
Well, it's the death of Superman. How fast paced can you be?
Right. And it just, I mean, the fact that you had these 5 characters that all had a story arc in this film, to where in Whedon's Justice League you had Batman and Wonder Woman, and then the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman were just kind of like, okay, here you go, here's some toppings on your pizza, enjoy.
Here's a little sprinkling of these other characters. Yeah, right. No, exactly. I mean, one of the things that you and I had discussed before we started recording, and I had said, is it's really refreshing that they actually gave Cyborg a story.
Oh man, yeah.
And it's like, and even the villains get more of a story. Like Steppenwolf gets a story. Yeah. Like
he wasn't just there to be a baddie. He had a purpose behind of what he was doing. To where the other one, it was just like, okay, here's Steppenwolf. He's gonna steal these mother boxes, and there you go.
It's like, and he's the big baddie, which is like, we all know. Well, we know that isn't the case. We know that Darkseid, his father, is I don't know if it's his biological father, or I mean, it's hard to tell the new gods and the old gods. Hello, I have a co-pilot now.
There you go.
And so, like, to understand more of his motivation was great.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. It was like, I failed you a number of times, and this is gonna be my redemption.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're doing. And then they brought the other characters in before Darkseid, and
Like the
I was just like,
sod, and even
yeah.
and even at the end, they go through and show Desaad and Granny Goodness, which if they continue on this trend, which we don't know if it's gonna be the case where they're gonna continue on Justice League movies or not in terms of the DC cinematic universe, I propose that there are two women to play Granny Goodness.
Uh-huh.
One is Dame Judi Dench,
Oh, that would be awesome.
or two, Betty White. I would see those movies in a heartbeat,
Right.
and it would be fantastic. All right, no.
It was funny because after we were watching, after we got done watching the film, and it showed, Darkseid on Apocalypse or whatever his planet is.
Yeah.
My daughter looks over at me and she's like, "Do we get Batman, Superman, Apocalypse? Like, do we get to see him brainwash Supergirl? Do we get to see Supergirl working for Darkseid? Oh my god, if we do, oh my god!" And she's just freaking out over it. I was like, I get it, babe. I get it. I love where you're going with that, because that would be that would be an amazing way to introduce Supergirl.
It would be.
Is to have that storyline to where she doesn't go to Earth. She lands on Darkseid's planet, and he is the one that's corrupting her and using her to basically for her abilities, and she's the baddie. Like, dude, how, like, I just want to see, because I mean, hell, we already got Superman in his black and silver suit, man. Why can't we get Supergirl?
Well, okay, not to rain on anyone's parade here, but the question is how are they going to manage that? Because they already have, I mean, we've stated, and I think we agree on that, Warner Brothers and DC have done a much better job in their television universe than they have in their film universe.
Oh my god, yeah, especially with the new Superman and Lois. Like, oh my gosh, dude! If you have not seen that, if you have not started watching that series, I highly recommend it. It is so good.
So, I mean, but that brings up the question. It's like, we already have a Supergirl that's established, that's beloved by many, many people. And I mean, this was one of the things that, like, I kind of argued against before, was Grant Gustafson plays a fantastic Flash. He plays a fantastic Barry Allen. Yeah. Why it's like, why the casting of Ezra Miller? Now, granted, in this version, it's like in the Snyder Cut version, I would say that Ezra Miller's portrayal of the Flash is a whole lot easier to swallow, because it showcases his intellect. Because before it was kind of like, okay, is the Flash? I mean, granted, Barry Allen is the plucky humor character in the Justice League, because he's fast talking with his like, But I think that is actually one of the things that actually serviced this movie better, is the removal of the humor.
Yeah. I mean, there was still some humor.
It's like they didn't.
But it was a lot. It was a lot more serious. It was a very serious superhero film, which is what, I mean, that kind of started back with with Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And with that series, and what Christopher Nolan did with that, I mean, that was a very serious comic book movie, and that's what I feel that they were trying to carry over with what Snyder's DC storytelling. And dude, I mean, I loved Ezra Miller's Flash in this. I mean, he still was very lighthearted and still very comedic in a sense, but you really got to kind of see them really set up Flashpoint. They really set up Flashpoint.
Oh yeah,
just from his reactions to going faster than he's ever gone before to
it's like
going even faster than that when he, at the end of the movie to do that. So, it just, yeah, the character development in this movie is so much far superior than what we've had in pretty much any DC film. I mean, before, even back with Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel. I mean, I felt like the character development in this one was so much far better and far superior than those two prior films that he did. And he did a fantastic job of giving us a story arc for all 6 characters, not just 2, but 6.
Yes, because I mean, that was one of the things that you and I were talking about before as well, is that Cyborg has a story. And before it's like in the original Justice League, it just kind of seems that he's there to be a MacGuffin for how to beat the mother boxes and to ultimately stop Steppenwolf. Now, I can understand that it's like that there is a character in that to basically make this happen, but at the same time, I want to know what it is that motivates him. And they actually give him motivation to stop Steppenwolf by ultimately the death of his father, Silas. Again, if you have not seen it and you're upset by spoilers, you have gone too far into this YouTube video. Come back later.
Way too far. Because what I'm about to talk about next is probably one of the biggest spoilers in the film, and that with being when Martha Kent went to go see Lois Lane to get her ass out of her apartment and back to the Daily Planet. And when it comes to find out, it's not Martha Kent at all, but it is the Martian Manhunter.
It's Jones.
Oh my God. We were sitting there and watching it, and Martha comes walking out of the apartment, and she freaking morphs in the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, it's like you see these red eyes, and I'm like, oh.
I dropped the biggest and loudest F-bomb. I'm so glad we weren't in a theater, because I was just like a total just fanboy geek out. Like, I mean, I lost part of my leg. I lost my shit. Like, dude, it was amazing. It was so friggin' amazing. Like, man, like, all right, so you're gonna give me 6 superheroes, give me a cohesive storyline, and then you're gonna throw in freaking Martian Manhunter and give him a storyline too? What the hell? Like, dude, like, oh my God. And dude, the design of him, the CGI, I mean, the CGI in this film is completely night and day compared to the first Justice League. Like, I mean, granted, the film was in 4:3 aspect ratio, which I felt like I was paying more close attention to the details in that format than I do in a widescreen format.
Yeah, it's like, I will say that was, I mean, if we're gonna go into like kind of the nitpicky mode right now, the 4:3 aspect ratio did kind of throw me for a little bit, but I mean, ultimately I'm like, okay, I used to watch, I mean, who didn't watch television in a 4:3, it's like 4:3 aspect ratio? I mean, we all had those, we all had tube TVs. Well, I mean, most of us had tube TVs at some point in time. I didn't grow up with a flat screen, so.
Yeah, no, dude, when they let you know at the very beginning of the film that this film is being presented in a 4:3 format to basically, keep to Zack Snyder's vision and what his storytelling, I was like, that's cool. I like that. I like that.
It's like, I'm wondering, has he given a statement about the reasoning why he did it in 4:3? Like, what, it's like, I mean, what makes that part of his vision to go through and do a film in 4:3 as opposed to 16:9?
I don't know. I have not seen anything,
because I haven't seen anything either.
And I mean, I guess it's just an artistic choice, man. I mean, and when you think about it too, I mean, it's a superhero film, and I guess he want it from an artistic point of view. I'm guessing he wanted that box view to
Kind
keep
of.
your attention,
Well,
to keep your attention, so you're not looking around and looking at the background and stuff like that. That you're actually paying attention to the film, because that's kind of what I felt like it was. Like, dude, I was seriously engrossed more in watching it in a 4:3 aspect than I was watching, you know, a widescreen,
mm-hmm.
you know, version of a film. Because I mean, the night before I watched Batman v Superman, the extended cut, because I wanted to make sure that if there was anything that was going to be thrown in, I wasn't going to miss it, and I'm glad I did. And you know, but like, I don't know, it just for me it worked. It really did work. But like we talked about earlier, I mean, nitpicking, I mean, the only thing that I can honestly say that I liked the Whedon's Justice League more in than Snyder's cut was the soundtrack.
Okay.
Like Danny Elfman's score for the Justice League film was phenomenal. I loved how he used the new and the old, used, you know, his original score from Batman,
mm-hmm.
and John Williams' score from, you know, the Superman movies and stuff like that, and really kind of did a great job of storytelling. Like we talked about earlier, you said, you know, Danny Elfman does a great job of telling a story with his music.
Yeah, he has a great way of telling a story with sound. I think is the exact phrase that I used.
Yeah, and you know, don't get me wrong, Junkie XL, he's a really good composer. I mean, he did a phenomenal job with Deadpool. He did a fantastic job with Mad Max Fury Road. This one was okay, but it didn't feel as personal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
To me in this film, to where that one was more. I mean, I guess you can say it's better that they didn't do the Danny Elfman score, because I mean, it definitely Elfman's score for that film was very much fanfare,
mm-hmm.
which is great. You know, and Snyder's not all too much about fanfare. He is and he isn't, to a certain extent. Like, he wants to do his vision, and he wants to put it out there as best as he can. And you know, it was just weird seeing some of the same sequences in this film and that they had in Justice League, which were done way better in this film, but with a different tone to it.
Yeah.
For the score, you know.
Well, so a few things that I kind of sort of that, like, I mean, I know I'm gonna get it in a Zack Snyder film. I just have to accept it, but I still don't like it. His use of slow-mo. I mean, granted, the use of slow motion when it's like the Flash or Wonder Woman, when it comes to these superhero beings and everything else, mm-hmm. It's like you have this whole entire element of like, okay, it's like, this is how they are perceiving the world. And mm-hmm. I understand and I get that and I accept that to be a part of the movie. But when like Batman fires off I think it's like a giant shell and you just mm-hmm. see it fall back in the background, and it's like, this to me seems a little bit redundant and also a little bit of extraneous. Now, if you're trying to drag out the action in terms of pacing, I might be able to understand that, but I would think that there would be a different way to do so.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that was a little overkill on some of that stuff. Like some of the slow motion was very well done.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the Flash, Wonder Woman, you know, but yeah, definitely
again, it's because of their perspective.
Yeah, definitely having the slowdown when Batman shoots off that huge ass caliber,
which I'm like, it's like, is that a 50 cal? It's like, is that a 50 cal rifle on top of the on top of the Batmobile? Because in all honesty, that doesn't look like a 50 caliber shell.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
That looks like that looks like something that a tank would use, and the Batmobile mm-hmm. is not built, I would say, to be fast with that type of artillery on top. Like mm-hmm. it's anti-aircraft artillery, I would almost say.
Yeah. No, I definitely, you know, it's slow motion is definitely it has its place and it doesn't have its place.
Yeah.
And he used it in some places that he didn't need to. Like I get what you're saying, like, dude, if you're using it for pacing of the action, but utilize it in other places, like, you know, you utilize it when the Flash is doing his thing, or when Wonder Woman's doing her thing, or even when Superman comes in, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's cool. But to use it on Batman, I mean, Batman's cool as heck already, dude. You don't need to try and make him look any cooler, you know what I mean?
What's your superpower? Rich.
Rich, yeah. I love that one liner, man. I've always liked that. I like that even in the Whedon cut, when he, you know, picking up Barry and they're sitting there talking, and Barry's like, so what's your superpower? I'm rich. And then they take off, which, you know.
And and I know that this is something that has been in every Zack Snyder film. Well, not every Zack Snyder film, because I haven't seen every Zack Snyder film. I will be honest, or at least I don't think I have.
Let's see, 300, Sucker Punch.
Seen it.
Man of Steel. Batman vs Superman, Justice League. What else has he done? Let me look. Here, you talk while I look.
Well, okay. So something that I and you know, I know that I'm not alone in sharing this opinion. Is his use or lack thereof of color. Now, I can understand, I can kind of understand the reasoning for that at the beginning of the movie. Because
I left out Watchmen.
Oh. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so actually he's done quite a few. I mean, he's done quite a few. I mean, but yeah, no, his choice of color palette, I mean, even when you go back and you look at like some of his earlier stuff, even when he did Dawn of the Dead, it was still kind of like that dark grainy, you know, style of coloring. Even in Watchmen was still kind of dark, even though you had, you know, I'm trying to remember the big blue guy.
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, yeah. I mean, he was the most colorful, you know, thing in the entire movie. So
they had they had more color in the Watchmen because they had Dr. Manhattan, Silk Spectre. Her costume was like, I mean, it had vibrant yellows in it. It didn't seem to be as washed out and gray than a lot of his other movies.
Yeah.
Now, granted, 300 is done pretty much just in sepia.
Yeah.
But again, it's like that was a stylistic choice that actually made sense, and it kind of went along with what Frank Miller had made in the comic. And, you know, The Watchmen also was very bright and vibrant in terms of the graphic novel itself. So you had that to work with. With Zack Snyder and like all of it's like, well, not all, but like his depiction of the DC universe, I can understand the gray and I could understand the gray tones to be used at the beginning of the movie because it's more of a somber feeling. You know, we're meant to like be given this sense of dread and this sense of gloom with the death of Superman and, you know, what's possibly happening. But maybe it's like, and, you know, granted, at the end of the movie, we do see a little bit brighter of a color palette. I mean, I just would have liked to have seen a more gradual transition, and you know, and like have the Flash and have Wonder Woman's costumes be bright and vibrant, because the Flash is called the Scarlet Speedster. I mean, what I think Ezra Miller is wearing, I think that might be a maroon because it's so dark.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the Flash. He's supposed to be bright and cheery and like and everything. And so, I mean, granted, this has been something that has been an issue. This has been something that Zack Snyder has consistently done in his films. It's a choice that he continues to make, and so therefore I mean, if I see it, I'm not gonna be I will be critical of it in the terms of, like, I understand the choice that he's making, but at this point in time, it's like, okay, come on, man. Because Shane, you are a Superman fan. I know this because I've seen your cosplays. And you're also t-shirt right now.
Yes.
I mean, Superman's supposed to be like this beacon of justice and hope and everything else. And granted, I love the black suit. I love the black suit. Now, had I wish at the end they would have done, it's like when he, you know, does the whole entire like up and away thing. I kind of wish I would have seen the red and the gold S.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed in that. I'm not gonna lie, you know.
Because the black suit makes sense.
When he came back and he went to the Kryptonian ship, and as he's walking through the hallway and all the costumes are opening up, he's got his father's costume. I don't know what the one when he first came in was like. I don't remember that.
Well, there's the space suit, and then there's the Ultraman suit from the death of the. It's like the rise of the Superman.
Is that what that? Oh shoot! Now I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to pay more attention to that.
I think that's what it is. I am not 100% sure.
You have the gold suit, which is the one that his father wore.
Yes,
is the second one. That first one on the right, I'm gonna have to go back and see what that is. And then he comes up.
Oh, the first one on the right is his space suit.
Okay.
Because it's like, for some odd reason, they have Superman, even though he can traverse the bounds of space without any oxygen, he still has a spacesuit for some odd reason. I was referring to the one on the left.
That was Jor-El's.
That was Jor-El's suit?
That was Jor-El's suit. That was the gold and blue suit that Russell Crowe wore in Man of Steel.
Now it's like we're both gonna have to go back and rewatch this and be like, okay, take this frame by frame.
Yeah, but I love that they had his red and blue suit as the third suit, and that was brighter than the normal Snyder. So I was like, oh my god, okay, so we know he wears the black suit, so he's got that suit. So when they went to that end scene where he's you know walking and looking around and then going doom, and it's the black with the gray, I was like, oh man.
And because it makes sense of the reasoning why he wears the black and the gray suit, where he wears the black suit, because black absorbs more light. So I mean, the whole entire, it's like from my understanding of it, when he flies up and he's like, ha. When he's basically getting a tan from, it's like from directly from the sun. It's like, okay, he's wearing that black suit to absorb the most light that he possibly can. And
he's juicing up.
He's like he's getting ready. He's been asleep for a long time. He's been underground. He has not seen daylight for a while. And so when it's like, oh, and his entrance. Oh, not impressed. I'm like,
dude, I was just like, dude, okay. He sits there, he flies in, saves Cyborg, blocks the freaking axe, not impressed, looks at the axe and just goes really quick, and it just. And the fact that he basically used his heat vision to freaking cut off Steppenwolf's side of the head, well, I was just like, oh,
he used his full power. It's like he used almost his full power set. It's like he used ice breath. He was clearly using super speed and flight. He used his his heat vision to cut off one of Steppenwolf's horns, and. And it's like, it's like, in terms of that fight scene, everyone had it's like, well, Cyborg had his job. He had his job, and so he was kind of removed from the fight scene, but he was fighting his own enemy, which was himself and his thought processes about what it is that it is to exist.
Dude, can I say how much I just loved that part, those parts of the film when Cyborg went into whatever, you know, virtual reality or whatever you want to call it was, and there he is, just walking like along before before Cyborg. And as he's walking through and he's going through the Nazi camp during World War II and just
in a Letterman's jacket.
Yeah, dude. I'm just like, freaking, like, dude, those were the small things that really separated this film from the Whedon cut and really gave these characters a voice and an arc, which was just fantastic.
Well, and also it's like something that this film did as well, is it made Wonder Woman it made her more badass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because
without a doubt. And they made her, so they try to over-sexualize her in the Whedon cut.
Yeah.
To where this one, it really summed up Wonder Woman in the first time you see her, when she's going in and she's stopping those guys from killing all those people and stuff like that. And she's talking to that little girl, and then that little girl asks her, "Can I be like you someday?" And Wonder Woman's like, "You can be whatever you want." That's what Wonder Woman's all about right there. That was right there perfect. I was like, dude, that's a way to bring the feminism into the role and give little girls, boys, whatever, that hero that we all know.
Yes.
And they did a fantastic job of doing that, and it took not even a whole dialogue to do that.
No, it's like it was very much an action sequence and everything else. And like, I mean, I said this before, and it's like, I know that this might make me sound like a male chauvinist pig, but it's not hard to sexualize Gal Gadot. She's a gorgeous woman. She's a talented actress.
Yeah.
She's she's talented. She is like physically capable in terms of doing a lot of her own stunts. And to me, it's like, go her, go. It's like, yas, queen, yas. So
like, dude, yeah, no, I mean, she is beautiful, dude. I mean, she was one of my favorite new characters that they brought to the Fast series. You know, that character was just fantastic. I love that, you know. And when they signed her on to Wonder Woman, everybody's like, oh no, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I'm like, guys, go back and watch Fast and the Furious, dude. Just watch her in that. Like, watch her mannerisms, how she acts with the guys and stuff like that. Dude, she's perfect for this role, man. Like, come on.
Well, okay, as someone who, it's like, you know, I'm gonna harken back to my days of working in a movie theater. It's like, to me, it's like there are too many Fast and the Furious movies. They need to stop making them. A hot take moment right there, but yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I would say it's like in terms of, so I think, so we have time to talk about Winter Soldier.
Yep.
The Falcon and Winter Soldier, sorry. It's like, I would suggest, I mean, if you can manage the $15, or heck, even if you go through and do the trial version of, it's like, I'll talk about this after I get done making this recommendation. Go watch the Snyder Cut. It is by far, it is leaps and bounds better than the original cut of Justice League Unlimited.
Yep. If you've got 7 hours in a day, I highly recommend going back and watching Batman vs Superman Extended Edition and then watching Justice League. Like, dude, watch those two films back to back. You will not be sorry.
See, you know, I haven't done that yet.
They flow so well. Like, they just, I'm glad that the fans spoke out that they had the hashtag, you know, give us a Snyder Cut. You know, I'm glad that Warner Brothers and DC and AT&T listened to the fans and gave us what we wanted. Now it's in their ball court. DC, Warner Brothers, AT&T,
See,
give us continued stories from Zack Snyder. Give us Justice League 2. Give us Justice League 3. Give us another freaking Man of Steel movie, damn it. And continue to let him tell his stories without your interference. Because when you don't interfere, he tells amazing stories.
I would disagree. That Zack Snyder can tell a good story. It's in terms of his direction if he has great source material. So yes. I will propose this caveat. Or this amendment to your thing.
No, you're wrong. No.
Have Zack Snyder team up with Jeff Jones.
Yes.
Have those two, because Jeff Jones goes through, and it's like, you and I both stated that we would go watch the animated features in which Jeff Jones has been executive producer of since like forever.
Yeah.
Put those two together, and then it's like, okay, you have the direction in which Snyder is going for the DCEU, but then you also have the guiding hand of Jeff Jones, who has done the cinematic, or the animated, it's not the cinematic, the animated adventures of the DC universe, and throw those two together in a blender, and boom, you have a good mix and synergy, because Jeff Jones would be able to provide Snyder with the story, with a base story material that he needs to tell a good story, because I think that Zack Snyder needs the source material to go through and make a really good film. That is my argument, because in all honesty, Sucker Punch, let's look at Sucker Punch. It's pretty, but it's lacking in story.
Yeah. I mean, you could even go as far as like, if they don't want to, like, even if they go to Zack Snyder and he's like, you know what, I don't want to do any more superhero movies. What if they just were like, okay, well, why don't you be the Kevin Feige of DC?
Kevin Feige
for DC for us. You take over the DC realm. We'll give you the directors. You pick who you want. You give us you are in full control of how everything is depicted, and go from there, because you got to remember, Warner Brothers just brought on J.J. Abrams on a huge lucrative contract, and they're supposed to be redoing Superman again. Yes, that's his next film.
Oh boy.
So
we'll have to talk about that on another episode.
Right. I could go on with all that stuff, but let him run the DCEU for you. You've already got your guy for your animated films. You know, Christopher Nolan, I mean, is an executive producer, but I mean, he really doesn't have all that much to say in this aspect. I mean, hell, you can even do it as like how Disney's doing with The Mandalorian with, you know, Filoni and Favreau. You know, why not do the same thing with Snyder and Nolan? Why not let those two be your creative control over the DCEU and continue telling their, having them have this follow that kind of cookie cutter almost type thing.
I would say that you have to have Jeff Jones. It's like, have Snyder.
Oh, no, Jeff Jones is great. And
I sense a butt coming.
Yes. Don't get me wrong. I think he would be great as to keeping them in line with the arc of the DC universe and the storylines and what stories to tell. Right. And he would be like he's like the Filoni of the DC universe. Is that right? Would you agree on that?
Yes. To an extent,
you
yes.
know what I mean? But for him to transition over from being a creative director over, animated films to live action, that's a huge. I mean, it's completely different.
That,
it's hugely different in the styles and stuff like that. So,
okay, yeah, I'll agree with you there, but it's like, but I would argue that Jeff Jones needs to be, and it's like needs to have some type of executive producer role, because he's the one who is like, he's the one who knows the stories, much like Dave Filoni from Mandalorian. He's the, it's like, you know, just have him be involved. So that way we get good DC cinematic stories. All right. So it's like, because we are at the 45-minute mark, which I'm pretty sure that is it might be more than enough time for us to talk Falcon and Winter Soldier. But let's quickly transition to that, so that way I don't have 2 hours worth of editing to do like last episode.
That's fine. No, but long story short, Justice League Snyder Cut, fantastic.
Yes.
Spend your 4 hours. Go get HBO Max, watch it, highly recommend it. Super worth your time, super worth your 4 hours, and enjoy the hell out of it, because
4 hours and 2 minutes.
Maybe the last one that we get. All right, so Falcon and Winter Soldier. Holy crap, dude! It's definitely been a superhero weekend, hasn't it, man?
It has been. It's like, I mean, my it's like in terms of times of recording, which I mean, today is Saturday, March 20th. I mean, tomorrow's my birthday, and I'm like, what better way to have my birthday weekend than have Snyder Cut and Falcon and Winter Soldier come out? And I'm like, yes, happy birthday to me.
Dude, right? I know. I'm telling you, dude, it's crazy. No, I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh, where do we start? I mean, dude, opening scene, phenomenal. That whole action sequence with Falcon, and just, I mean, that whole. Just, I mean, that's pure MCU amazingness right there. That was just phenomenal, dude.
They bring back Batroc.
Yes. Yes.
Like, one of the most, it's like, I mean, Batroc is, in all honesty, seen as a joke to most people in terms of a villain.
Yes.
And it wasn't until Winter Soldier that we kind of saw him. It's like, oh, wow, this guy can kind of go toe to toe with Cap. Yeah. Well, crap. Yeah. And I forget which mixed martial artist it is that plays him, but
I don't remember. Yeah,
he does such a good job, and everything else. And it's, I mean, the practical, the CGI, the skydiving camp. It's like, oh my goodness, it was just like it was this perfect blend of just opening epicness.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And then they kind of lost me a little bit.
Okay, how so?
Like, well, you start off with that amazing epic scene, and then you kind of go from being this fast paced, like, oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about, to this kind of snail crawl almost. And you know, I don't get me wrong, dude, I loved it. I love the fact that you're giving these characters a voice that they didn't have in the MCU. You're giving them a story arc that was missing. Dude, I didn't know Falcon had a freaking family outside of the Avengers. Like, I mean, dude, he's got a sister. His parents ran like a successful like shipping yard, and like, I didn't follow Falcon in the comics, so I don't know any of his.
So Falcon in the comics, actually, he grew up. It's like, he's also from New York. He's from Harlem. He's not from Louisiana.
Right.
Where they threw him in for this story. Now, I think that that just makes the character of Sam Wilson that much richer. Like, it's this, because this is one of the things that doesn't really get talked about in terms of this. It's like, you know, everyone, it's like they're calling it the blip, which, you know, we all, some of us have issues with. And so it goes through and shows the issues in which that, like, okay, Sam's been gone for 5 years.
Yeah.
And even Bucky himself, it's like, you know, he was dusted too for the snap. So one of the things that I kind of am maybe getting a feeling of is that ultimately the missing 5 years and essentially being men out of time is going to be what binds them. Now, granted, Bucky has it way worse because when he's on that date, she's like, how old are you? 106. Not missing
she just laughs.
She just laughs at him, and it's like, no, he's being honest.
He's being 100% honest.
And it's like, you can kind of see in terms of his consumption of alcohol, he's trying to get drunk to loosen up because he has 3 beer bottles, and it's like, and he's working on more.
Well, she even mentions, wow, you can
really drink. It's like,
you can really
yes.
drink. Yes. But no, I love the fact that, you know, in the story between, you know, both Sam and Bucky, they're humanizing them.
Oh yeah.
We've only seen them as superheroes.
Yeah.
We've only seen them as these successful superheroes that have some flaws, that, you know, have deep, rich backstories. I mean, for Bucky, for sure, you know, Sam not so much, but it gives you that story of like what happens to a superhero when there's nothing left. Like, they've been gone for 5 years, and they really kind of brought that home when Sam and his sister go to the bank to get that loan.
It's like, how do superheroes make money?
Right, yeah. How do you guys make money? How come you have no income for the past 5 years? And Sam's like, I'm an Avenger, and, you know, like, pumps his chest and, like, you know, really kind of goes there. And the guy really kind of just slaps him in the face like, I don't care, you're not getting the money still because you don't have this portfolio of finances. Well,
the portfolio of finances over 5 years was the whole entire thing of like, he wasn't, his sister made a point. It's like, how do you make income when you don't exist?
Yeah.
And
but dude, yeah, it was just crazy.
I mean, it's like, and we're getting introductions to characters that are eventually going to take up them. I also think that there was a question that was posed to me by somebody before we started recording, and it's like, how is this going to tie into WandaVision? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know, but I think it's going to be its own story. Yeah. And I think I'm wrong.
Really? I think WandaVision was the purpose of setting up the Doctor Strange and that dark universe.
Well, yes, but here's the tie-in. It's from the season finale. It's from the series finale of WandaVision, where Vision has a conversation with himself about the ship of Theseus. So the whole entire question of identity.
Yeah.
So we saw in Endgame, Steve gave the shield to Sam.
Yep.
He's like, it feels like it's somebody else's. It's not. It's yours.
Yeah.
It's like, and now Bucky's having the issue of identity now with the whole entire thing of making amends, which he has, in my opinion, 2 different lists. He has it's like he has, and they're for 2 entirely different reasons.
Yep.
One is for justice / vengeance, and the other is to actually apologize to people, because we see him with Yori, a kind old Japanese man who, you know, is still mourning the death of his son, in which Bucky had murdered as the Winter Soldier because he was there. He was a witness. Yeah. And I mean, and when I saw that, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as he started talking about his son
and
how they, you know, just the stories and stuff like that when they're sitting there and they're at lunch, and I'm just like, oh, dude, no, dude, no way.
And it's like, and he's having nights.
Yeah.
And he's having nightmares.
Like, yeah. And my daughter's sitting next to me, and she's like, Dad, Bucky killed his son.
Mm-hmm.
That's some messed up stuff right there. I'm like, I know. Shut up and let me finish watching, because I'm just like having a moment here, like, wow.
And that's the reason why he's having the nightmares now, is because he's
Yeah.
not actually making amends to Yori for,
Yep.
for killing his son. And
Yep.
and
But
I
don't know how
appreciate
he does that. I don't even know how he can do that, because I mean, he's created this relationship with Yori where it's like you obviously see that they go to lunch quite often, and they're together quite often.
yeah.
So does Yori see Bucky as that fulfillment for his son being gone? And what is that gonna do when he finds out that
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
It's going.
shit.
If this happens, it's gonna break all of our hearts.
Oh yeah,
It's
without a doubt.
going to just Indiana Jones, Kalima.
Yeah, man. I just, it's boy.
It's like yeah, I know. I mean, it's gonna be something, and this is gonna be. I think it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster ride, because one, we're dealing with Sam's issues of him being gone, and I think we're gonna be dealing with Bucky's sense of, where is my place in this world?
Yeah, how
do I
become
fit
a
in?
normal acting citizen in this world? Because like he said when he was talking to the shrink, all he's known is war. He
I had
with Cap, got froze, came back, did all the Winter Soldier stuff. The only time of peace that he had is when he was on Wakanda, and that quickly ended, and he was back fighting, and he's had nothing. He's known nothing but war.
Yep.
So how do you go from being this soldier to just an average Joe?
That's something that we'll never probably know. And because the thing is also, and this is something that I really appreciate, is all the callbacks that they went through and did. Because one of the callbacks that actually Bucky does towards the beginning of the episode, it's when because Sam talks to Cap and Winter Soldier about, it's your bed, right?
Yeah.
We see Bucky sleeping on the floor of his apartment, just watching the TV, and because he's not used to sleeping in a bed. He's used to being uncomfortable, which is a very weird, it has to be a very weird and very difficult thing to transition into, is to that everyday life that you've talked about.
Yeah.
And it's just episode 1, and I'm excited for I'm excited for next week. I'm excited for when we finally see Zemo. And it's like, and we're gonna I think they're doing a gender flip with Flag Smasher, because in terms of what we've seen in terms of the trailers and everything else. And then of course, you try to remain spoiler free, but you just scroll past something on your phone and it's like, well, shit. Wasn't expecting that, but now I know.
Yeah. Can I just say how pissed off I was at when they introduced the new Captain America, and Sam sitting there watching it
on the news? I'm like, what is this?
And here this guy comes running out with the shield that Sam gave him. And dude, I cannot imagine what was going through Sam's head, because you know what? Cap gave you that shield to be the one to carry the torch.
Freaking Dumbo ears.
And you gave it to the Smithsonian out of good faith, because you thought they were going to have it on display.
Oh yeah.
And they turned around and they screwed you over, and they gave it to somebody else.
It's like, where's the spot? Where's the spot? Stamp.
I was like, man, dude, I'm a huge U.S. Agent fan, and I cosplay U.S. Agent, and I hate this guy already. I just want to pound him so hard. Just pound the hell out of his head. Just oh, dude, I was just like, no, man, like, oh. Now, I mean, we already know Sam's gonna get the shield back. I mean, we've seen it in the trailers and stuff like that. But the fact that that happened, I was pissed. I was like, if I'm this pissed off about it and I'm not even the character, Sam, come on, man. What are you thinking right now, bro?
Yeah, no, I will have to say, it's like, I'm like, when I first saw him, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I reminded of Dumbo when I look at his head? Because his ears stick out so far from the helmet. I'm like, one of those is going to get shot.
Somebody posted a meme earlier today of U.S. agent, just this face with the freaking helmet on, and then the old dude from Up. And they look exactly the same. It's pretty bad.
Well, and
it's pretty bad. And if I can find it again, I'll put it in the comments.
And one of the things that I was looking at, or that I was thinking of, is this the guy that Sam saved at the beginning of the movie, or at the beginning of Falcon and Winter Soldier? Because he saves somebody.
No, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to watch it, but I don't think so.
I mean, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, let me.
And in terms of like IMDb, it's like they just have him listed as Colonel Vassant. So I mean, we don't know, and it's like it might be the case, it might not be.
No, Wyatt Russell's is Winter Soldier, is not Winter Soldier, is
Agent USA.
Agent USA.
Because he's not Captain America. Let's no.
Yeah, even on IMDb, they just have him as John Walker.
Okay.
So I can't wait to see freaking Erin Kellerman in this. You know, she was Emphas Nest in Solo. She was phenomenal, and I really want to see how she does in this, because I mean, dude,
because she's Flag Smasher, right?
Huh?
She's Flag Smasher, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Outside of, I've met her a couple times on the outside. I met her at Comic-Con. I met her at one of the events for Star Wars, and dude, she is a joy to be around, dude. She is as big a fan as everybody else, and she is just so sweet and kind-hearted, and just loves it, and you know, definitely did a great job with Emphas Nest in Solo. And you know, I'm really looking forward to see what she does in Falcon and Winter Soldier, because she's definitely got a bright future ahead of her. So yeah, it's just I definitely can't wait for that. So
well, it's like and you know, it's like in terms of episodes, we'll probably have a discussion about Falcon and Winter Soldier, because there's only 6 episodes. So to do recap things every week, I mean, yeah, sure, might be, it's like it might be interesting, it might be nice. However, I think just because it is so short, that just saving it up till we get to that series finale, and then going back and doing a rehash of everything like we did with WandaVision on the WandaVision episode is going to be a great conversation, which hopefully y'all take place in the comments down below and everything else.
Before we let everybody go, can we not forget to discuss really, really fast one other character that we haven't mentioned yet?
Who?
And that's Danny Ramirez's character,
Joaquin Torres, yes, the new Falcon.
Right? Like, dude.
And it's like, the new Falcon ends. It's like I didn't realize until I had to go through and do some more research about. It's like, wait, who is this character? It's like, oh, he's the new Falcon. So it actually makes sense that he's trying to learn how to fix Red Wing,
right,
at the beginning of the movie. And I'm like, huh. And the costume design is fantastic for Sam. It harkens back to his red and white spandex costume.
Yeah.
I mean, again, more tactical because it's not comic books. It's, you know, it's modern day military era. And I'm also interested to see in terms, it's like one of the things that I'm interested to see as someone who's into writing is how the villains are going to be portrayed in this, because they stated it's like they think that everything was better during the blip.
Yep.
Which I'm like, wait, I can kind of understand the reasoning why.
Yeah. Yep. So can I. And I like how it wasn't I don't even think it was like a general character. It was in the one of the military conversations where they were talking about the blip and talking about how we're not even like our allies aren't even our allies anymore.
Yeah, allies are no longer allies. It's like enemies are allies. I mean, it's this whole entire like cacophony of stuff. Of political mumbo jumbo, because probably the people that, I mean, probably what's happened is that some of the people that were in power that shouldn't have been were snapped. Some people that it's like, and then, you know, they all realized it's like, oh crap, there is half the people that there were on Earth. We need to come together and make it so that way we can actually, you know, exist and survive and everything else, because there's all this, there were all this uncertainty at the time. And, you know, what do you do in uncertain times when trauma happens? I mean, your body sends, it's like your body says, it's like, okay, send out platelets if you're cut. Which it's like, okay, everyone coming together is trying to, you know, scab over the perpetual wound that is the snap.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be, I'm very interested to see how they write in the villains, because, I mean, how good a villain is how much you can relate to them is the true test of a good villain. Like, you know,
and the MCU does a really great job with that.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. Well, it's like I know that you and I are both excited for the 5 more weeks of Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's going to be interesting to see. It's like if we're going to get both versions of like the Winter Soldier Captain America and the Falcon version. It's like the Bucky Barnes version of Captain America and the Sam Wilson version of Captain America. Would love to see that, in all honesty. But in all honesty, it's too soon for predictions. It's just go through, sit down, watch it, enjoy it, and also the episodes are longer than WandaVision, so you have about an hour now, or 50 minutes.
49 minutes was the episode last night, so it's I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this develops and how those characters, you know, really get developed with this. Just because, I mean, their story arcs are, I mean, we know a lot about Bucky, but we don't know that much about Sam. So, and this is a great way to really give those characters a voice and really, you know, develop them further on beyond than what they were. So yeah, and I definitely I'm ready for that ride, and I'm ready to see how it turns out for sure.
It's definitely gonna be a good one too. Well, I think that's it for this episode of the Knights of Nerd. My name is Brendan, Nerd of Many Faces. That's Shane. Make sure to follow us on social media. Come check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, what have you. The links are all down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. We look forward to seeing you again here in the near future and continuing on these nerdy discussions.
Awesome.
So have a good day, and we'll catch y'all later.
See you guys later.